Hey Guinos, I thought to start this video out, we could do an activity together. So, we're gonna be drawing a popular video game character. I'm sure you've heard the song before. First you draw a circle, then you dot the I's, add a great big smile, and presto! It's Ganondorf! I like video games. I don't think I've made that a secret considering the fact that half of my channel's catalog is about them. My whole life I've been amazed by the advancements made in technology, engines, genres, music, art direction. Basically, if it has anything to do with video games, I've been glued to it ever since I've had enough brain power to understand what a boombox was. But my favorite thing about video games, and media in general, is the profound effect it can have on people. I'm sure that everyone can remember the first movie they really connected with, or the first song that moved them to tears or sent shivers down their spines, and it's no different with video games. On top of that, because of the interactivity, they have their own special way of connecting with people, and so, like all of the other things I've listed, video games are works of art. Most people who've been playing video games for a long time have heard the argument before, and for a while it was a debate whether or not video games could be considered art at all. Plenty of critics and artists of different mediums insisted that no, video games aren't and never can be art due to their fundamental properties. Games are meant to be won, they're made by large teams, their products meant to make money, and even some of the great game developers, at least for a time, used to believe this too. I think that's not only unfair to video games as an art form, but disrespectful to video game developers as artists. On behalf of the 13-year-old Antonio that tried explaining to his parents that Super Mario Galaxy was more than just a funny Wii game, I'd like to explain why I think it's not really a debate. And honestly, the worst games that come out are a direct result of them not being treated with the respect that they deserve. But before I can do that, I've got to figure something else out. What is art? I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I'm some expert art critic because I'm not, and I'd be lying if I said that I could give you a straight answer on what I think art is, so I'll do my best. I think art is anything created by a human with intent, purpose, and passion. People who create art, in whatever way they do it because of an innate desire to make. To make and to learn is one of the most fulfilling things you can do as a human being. Whether it be painting, music, writing, sports, engineering, it all comes with the desire to understand and convey. It's beautiful the things that we as a species can achieve through passion and will. Okay, let's start talking about Mario again. Video games, I think, fit into this pretty nicely. They're not only a unique form of art that takes shape as a sum of its parts, but the amount of work that goes into each of those parts is astounding. You've got musical compositions, concept artists, all of these things just come together, and they're all incredible works on their own. I can't tell you how many times these past few years I've been playing a game and suddenly thought, damn, this song is so good, I've got to add this to my playlist. Or I bought an entire art book because I thought a game's art direction was so cool and I couldn't pass up the opportunity to look at more of it. The idea that when you combine all of these great things together and it suddenly stops being art is ridiculous, and yet we still get arguments about it. And to be fair, it's not like your average Joe is going to be looking at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe going, oh yeah, this belongs in a museum. Video games are treated as if they were just another product by the general public, which I think leads to a lot of the widespread problems in the industry. I've noticed this a lot lately, how so many people are trying to measure video games with objective measurements rather than subjective ones, like how much time it takes to beat it or how many things there are to do. It's not necessarily wrong to measure games with more objective or factual arguments. In fact, all art is critiqued using the skill level of the artist or the techniques they employed. But they're also evaluated on personal experience and what the critic gleaned from it. Art is inherently a very emotional thing, so it makes sense to judge it with subjectivity along with objectivity. And yet, the video game community seems obsessed with the latter. They're so concerned with proving that objectively the thing they like is good and fun, rather than what it meant to them and how they feel about it. This is an extremely common thing for people to do in online arguments. They treat aspects of the game like they're specs, and they're trying to rate its value as a product rather than its value as a piece of art. Treating a video game like a product or a utility sort of assumes there's a correct way for a game to be, and it's more in line with how executives think about them rather than the developers and artists that actually make them. More and more games have been popping up taking advantage of this mindset. having an aversion to risk by just copying a proven formula and being filled with microtransactions. It's really funny how openly they're displaying their greed by calling it games as a service. We get more games that are similar to each other. Large companies don't want to risk branching out and investing too much on a product that they don't know is going to succeed. And now, like a product, the market becomes oversaturated with things that have very little differences and are made from the same general concept. We have like 4 different versions of Overwatch that you can play right now, and the original isn't even one of them. Speaking of which, treating games like products rather than the collaboration of hundreds, even thousands of artists allows companies to get away with things like this. If you liked the gameplay or the style of the original Overwatch, which why would you literally cannot play it anymore. People paid for this game and they are not allowed to play it anymore. I feel like I don't see people talk about that enough. They straight up just took this game that people paid for away from them. The more and more we sort of desensitize ourselves to the industry part of the video game industry, the more we allow them to get away with doing things like this. And the more we allow them to get away with it, the less video games get treated like the art form that they are. One of my all-time favorite games, Super Mario Galaxy, is an incredible work of art. As a kid, I saw no flaws in it, and as an adult, I struggle to find any. I have so much fun with it every single time I replay it, and it's the first time that just playing a game damn near moved me to tears. When I play that first planet, and I hear the sounds of space, and I see the most beautiful galaxy in the background, and that soft music starts to play, it takes my breath away. Now imagine if that were just like New Super Mario Bros. Instead. Sure, the game is fun, but it's not doing anything new. It's not pushing boundaries. It's a shell of what it could be. It breaks my heart to think that I wouldn't have been able to experience that lovingly crafted orchestral score or that amazing gameplay I go back to every single year. And this isn't to say that video games can't just be junk food entertainment with nothing artistic to offer. I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy the occasional junk food game. But if you only eat junk food, you're gonna get sick, and fast. Ad-lib Sonic joke. I had a lot of fun with Sonic Frontiers. Do I think it's a good game though? And would I recommend that people buy it? Hell no! And not for $60. It's buggy, unpolished, the world is uninspired, Sonic controls like garbage, the progression is slow, the story is boring. With all of these objective measurements, I can say that this is a bad game. But I still had fun with it. Just like with other pieces of bad art, you can recognize that it's not very good, but you can still enjoy it. They were trying something new, they were getting their feet wet, and maybe they didn't stick the landing, but we should encourage and appreciate that. Maybe if we did that more, the higher-ups would have given them more resources and time, because Jesus Christ guys, it's Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. He's supposed to be a gaming giant. If we just ignore the immense effect that video games can have on people as a medium of art, we'd be depriving ourselves of some of the greatest moments in them ever. I'm going to show you these 2 clips, and I want you to take note of the visual and audio and musical storytelling in them. Damn. These rule, man. I don't know what to tell you. Those shivers down your spine when you hear something cool, or the unexplainable feeling of adventure they convey. Oh man, you can't say anything other than just damn. Video games deserve to be treated like art, whether they're trying to make you feel something or if they're just for fun. The interactivity of the medium makes it that much more impactful when you're able to make the player feel something. Or you just make a really kick-ass game that people love and want to tell other people about because it was so fun. The effect that video games have on people is nothing less than the other forms of art. We want to learn about it, we want to understand more about it, we want to share it, we want to talk about it, we want to argue about it. And we do all of this because we care about it. It's because we care that it is art. And the game developers that care about it so much are the reason why we call them artists. If we continue to disrespect the artists that create the things that we love, or the very ground that the thing they create is art at all, we risk giving these people that don't care about any of that the fuel they need to make sure that these games become the exception, not the rule. I've played so many games that I would consider to be great works of art. Tears of the Kingdom, Metroid Dread, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, Uncharted 4, Celeste, One Shot, a bunch of other games that I'm gonna put on the screen right now, but it would take forever to list because I love all of them so much. Even games that I didn't like that much, like Sonic Frontiers, I can understand the risks being taken, the lessons being learned, and while as a product it may be bad, as a piece of art, it's inspiring. It's watching these developers take risks and make mistakes and pour love and passion into the things they create that makes all of it worthwhile. You can tell the difference between games made by people who care and games created to line executives' pockets. There is a difference. With that, I'd like to say one more thing. Like all other forms of art, video games are not immune to criticism. This video isn't a way for me to tell people they're not allowed to criticize games or game companies unless it's the ones that I like. Plenty of companies are doing shitty things with their games and the franchises they've been entrusted with. But it's not the artist's fault that these companies are making them work on the games. Your criticism should not be levied at the lower parts of the totem pole. It should go up higher to the people pushing deadlines and making sure that these are treated like products first and art second. Unfortunately, this is how our world works. Many great video games, in order to exist, have to be shackled to business. The best that we can do is make sure that they are treated like the art they deserve to be. And listen, I know Nintendo needs to make money, but they do not need to charge $60 for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
Keep stepping at your own